If I'm asked to find the gradient of each line, well, there's certain things that I can figure out by looking at the formula for a line, but the other thing I can always do is I can always find 2 points that are on the line and use that to help me figure out the slope. So let's use our calculator to help us for this first one. I'm going to come into my calculator and I am going to put my equation in y equals because I have this nice y equals formula. So let's go into our y equals. So all right, y equals, I'm going to type in this formula. So I have 1/3 x, third x minus 2. And now I'm going to go into my table of values. So second graph gives me my table. And now I can see when x is 0, my y value is -2. So I'm going to write that down, that I've got the point 0, -2, and I'm going to look for another point that has nice values. And I can see down here, when x is 3, I get a y value of -1. So now I can say my slope, I'm going to do y minus y, -2 minus -1, divide by x minus x, 0 minus 3. Of course, I can put this into my calculator as well. So let's quit out of here. And then, okay, we had -2 minus -1. And then in the bottom, we had 0 minus 3. And we can see that we get the fraction 1/3. All right, let's try that again with b. So with b, it's not so easy to type in my calculator because my calculator, I need y equals. So one thing that I could do is I could divide everything by 2. So then I would get y is equal to 10 times x plus 1 divided by 2. Now I can put this in my calculator. So I can make a fraction again. 10 times x plus 1, and then divide by 2, and I'm going to look at my table. This time I see the point 0, 5 and 1, 10. So my slope, this time I'm going to start with this and do my subtraction so I won't end up with negative numbers. So I'm going to do y minus y, 10 minus 5, over 1 minus 0. And of course 10 minus 5 is 5, divide by 1. So I get a slope of 5 over 1, or I could of course call that just 5. Let's see. This one is really easy to look at. If x is 0, then my y value is 5 times 0. So that gives me the point 0, 0. If x is 1, I get 5 times 1 is 5. So now my slope, 5 minus 0 over 1 minus 0. And I get the same slope, 5 over 1 or just 5. So that must tell me that lines B and C are parallel to each other. And now let's look at this one. This one I could rearrange to try to plug into my calculator, or I could say that I'm going to rearrange it anyhow, even to try and figure out points. So it'd be really nice if I could get this x by itself. So I'm going to say that, let's look at this one. Let me make this all a little bit smaller. Whoops. Okay. So I'm going to take that equation for D and say 3y minus x equals 5. I'm going to add x to the other side. 3y is equal to x plus 5. And now I'm going to subtract the 5 to the other side to get x by itself. 3y minus 5. So now it's easy for me to see. If we let y equal to 0, then x is going to be equal to 3 times 0 minus 5, which is negative 5. So I know that I go through the point -5 for my x value, and 0 for my y. If we let y equal 1, then we get our x value is going to be 3 times 1, which is 3 minus 5, plugging in there. 3 minus 5 is -2. So now we know that we go through x -2, y value of 1. Knowing this, I can figure out my slope. So my m is going to be equal to y minus y, 0 minus 1, over x minus x, -5 minus -2. 0 minus 1 is -1. -5 plus 2 is -3. So I get +1/3, which matches. So then I must have that line D is parallel to line A.